Stop scrolling. You know exactly what this is about. That sound, that trend, those 12 takes you filmed in your bathroom at 11 p.m., deleted every single one, and watched die from your camera roll like a digital fossil you buried yourself. There's a name for it now: content paralysis. And according to sources close to platform behavioral analysis, TikTok doesn't just watch trends. It allegedly watches you hesitate inside them in real time, down to the second. We're talking about something being called the sound graveyard, a behavioral fingerprint allegedly so precise it can identify the exact audio clip you hovered on, filmed to, and abandoned before you even knew you were giving up. And the number that keeps coming up in every conversation about this? 4 seconds. 4. That's allegedly how close you were. Not minutes, not hours. 4 seconds from a post that, by every metric the algorithm had already pre-calculated, would have done serious numbers. Rehook. 1.5 billion people use TikTok. And right now, researchers are suggesting that the majority of them share one thing in common: a graveyard of sounds they almost used. Almost. That word is doing a lot of heavy lifting tonight. Here's where it gets specific. Sources describe something called a draft hesitation API, a back-end behavioral layer that allegedly triggers when a user opens the same trending sound 47 or more times without posting. Not estimates. Allegedly 47 is the threshold where the system flags you as a chronic hesitator. 47 opens. Think about that. Each one felt like the time you'd actually do it. Different lighting, different angle, different caption energy. And the platform allegedly logged every single attempt, building a portrait of your creative paralysis in silent, meticulous detail. And then there's the delete speed cross-reference. This is the part that makes people genuinely uncomfortable. Allegedly, the system doesn't just know you deleted, it knows how fast you deleted. A slow delete suggests doubt. A fast delete suggests shame. And that distinction allegedly lives in your behavioral file. You filmed 12 versions. You deleted all of them. And somewhere in a data architecture you'll never see, those decisions were allegedly cataloged, compared, and cross-referenced with the exact moment the trend peaked and the exact moment you watched it die. The recording timestamp tells the system when you were ready. The delete timestamp tells it when you broke. And the gap between those two numbers, that window of almost, is allegedly what the content paralysis engine lives inside of. Former platform behavior analysts describe this pattern as one of the most consistent signals in social media history. The user who almost posts is more behaviorally predictable than the user who does, because almost has a rhythm, and rhythms can be mapped. And what does TikTok allegedly do with a sound graveyard full of your hesitation data? That's the question that nobody with a verified answer is willing to go on record about. But the implication, from every source willing to talk, is that it feeds back into what sounds get served to you next. In other words, the algorithm may already know which sound will make you film 13 takes next week. It's been watching you practice giving up. And it's gotten very, very good at predicting the next time you'll do it. 1.5 billion people. Each one with a graveyard. Each graveyard full of sounds that almost became something. Almost became a moment. Almost became the version of themselves they opened the app to become. And the platform allegedly holds the receipts for every single almost. 4 seconds. That's where we started, and that's where this ends. Because the most unsettling part of all of this isn't that the algorithm knew you'd hesitate, it's that 4 seconds from now, you're going to open TikTok. And somewhere, allegedly, something is already waiting to find out if this time is different. There is a version of you that almost went viral. You filmed it, you watched it back, you deleted it, and according to researchers who've spent years inside TikTok's behavioral architecture, the app remembers that. All of it. The feature has no official name. TikTok hasn't confirmed it exists, but the people flagging it aren't conspiracy theorists. They're engineers, data scientists, people who read API documentation the way other people read novels. And what they're describing is something that should make every creator deeply uncomfortable. They're calling it the draft hesitation loop. The theory: TikTok's engagement engine doesn't just track what you post, it tracks the shape of your doubt. Every open, every recording, every delete, every return to the same trending sound at 2 a.m. Think about what that actually means. The app can see that you opened the same sound 47 times. It can see you filmed 12 different versions. It can see the exact timestamp you hit delete on every single one. That's not engagement data. That's a psychological profile. And here's where the researchers get specific and where it gets genuinely hard to dismiss. The pattern they've isolated has a name inside their own notes: the final delete speed metric. How fast you delete something, they argue, tells the algorithm everything about how close you actually were to posting it. A fast delete, you hated it. A slow delete, that 4-second pause where you watched it one more time, almost changed your mind, and then tapped anyway, that's the system flagging you as a near miss, a creator who was right there and didn't jump. You were 4 seconds away from posting something that would have done numbers. The algorithm allegedly knows that. The question is, what does it do with that information? What researchers believe it does is this: it feeds your hesitation back into your recommendation engine. The sounds you chickened out on start appearing more. The trends you watched die from your camera roll get surfaced again, subtly, persistently, as if the app is offering you a second chance it knows you want. And here is the part that researchers say pushes this from interesting theory into something more troubling. The system allegedly cross-references your recording timestamp with the trend's peak virality window. It can calculate, retroactively, whether your deleted video would have hit the algorithm during optimal distribution hours. In other words, TikTok's system may be able to tell you, with reasonable accuracy, that the video you deleted on a Tuesday at 11:43 p.m. would have been served to an audience that was primed and ready. The trend hadn't peaked yet, you just thought it had, and you deleted it anyway. The researchers call this the content paralysis engine. Not because TikTok built it to trap you, but because the data it collects is perhaps accidentally a perfect map of creative fear. Every hesitation, every almost, every version of yourself you decided the world wasn't ready for. Rehook, 1.5 billion users. If even a fraction of them have a sound graveyard, a logged archive of everything they almost said, then what TikTok is sitting on isn't just behavioral data. It's the largest collection of human hesitation ever assembled. And that graveyard doesn't disappear when you delete the app. It doesn't reset when you make a new account. The behavioral fingerprint of your doubt, your specific personal pattern of almost, that, researchers suggest, persists, stored, logged, somewhere. In the next chapter, we talk to the creators who figured this out the hard way, who noticed the sounds kept coming back, who started to feel like the algorithm wasn't just watching what they did, it was watching what they almost did and building something with it. 3 seconds, that's all it takes. Not a save, not a share, not even a like. Just your thumb hovering, your breath held, the sound playing into the room while you decide if you're brave enough to become someone who posts. Sources close to platform architecture suggest that at the 3-second mark, something shifts. The algorithm stops reading your behavior as passive and starts reading it as intention. You didn't scroll past that sound, you considered it. And consideration in the attention economy is currency. Now picture that moment multiplied. The same trending audio, opened 47 times across 3 weeks. The algorithm doesn't see a user who couldn't decide, it sees a user who deeply wanted to decide. That's a different file entirely. Here's the rehook, and I need you to sit with this. Your deleted videos didn't disappear. They left a shape, a behavioral outline. The platform allegedly cross-references your recording timestamp, your draft duration, and your final delete speed to construct what researchers are calling a creative hesitation profile. You are more documented in your failures than your posts. 12 versions filmed. 12 times you held the phone up, got the angle, felt the beat drop approaching, and recorded yourself almost becoming the person you wanted to be online. 12 times you watched it back. 12 times the answer was no. And the platform knows the difference between a slow delete and a fast one. A slow delete means you watched it again. Watched it again means you were close. Close means the content existed, and the only thing that didn't was your nerve. That gap between creation and posting is allegedly what the Draft Hesitation API was designed to measure. 4 seconds. That's the margin some researchers believe separated certain users from content that would have performed. Not 4 minutes of better editing, not 4 days of strategy, 4 seconds of nerve they didn't have at 11:43 on a Tuesday when the sound was still trending. Rehook, because this is where it gets philosophically dark. The platform may know your creative potential better than you do. It has the data of everything you almost made. You have the memory of everything you didn't. Those are not the same archive, and only one of them is being monetized. The terms of service were 7 minutes long if you scrolled at a normal reading pace. Studies suggest the average user spent 11 seconds on that screen. 11 seconds to sign over the behavioral rights to every creative impulse you'd have for the next several years. The consent was real, the comprehension was not. And so the sound graveyard fills. Every audio you hovered on, every draft you buried, every trend you watched die from your camera roll because 12 takes wasn't enough to convince yourself you were ready. The graveyard isn't metaphorical. It has timestamps, it has delete speeds, it has your face in 12 different lighting setups all saying the same thing. Not yet. Most data collection stories are at what you do. This one is about what you almost did, and then destroyed. Chapter 3, the delete speed timestamp, and I need you to actually sit down for this one. When you delete a file, you think it's a conclusion, a decision made, case closed. But in behavioral data science, a deletion isn't an ending, it's a confession. Because the delete is one event. But everything that happened in the 3 minutes before the delete, that is the actual story your device was quietly narrating the entire time. Platform behavioral researchers, the kind who don't go on record easily, describe two completely distinct deletion signatures. And the difference between them is the difference between a clean exit and a psychological profile. Signature 1. You filmed something bad. It's blurry, the lighting is wrong, you blinked, you watch it once, you wince, you delete it in under 2 seconds. Clean signal, corrective behavior. The algorithm understands this. Signature 2 is where this gets uncomfortable. You filmed something good, you know it's good, you watch it back 4 times, you edit the caption, you delete the caption, you rotate your phone sideways for no reason. You zoom into your own face looking for reasons not to post it. You read the sound's trending hashtags. You almost tap post. Your thumb is 1 centimeter from the button, and then you delete it. Researchers call the window between your last playback and your final delete the terminal hesitation interval. And the theory, the one that should concern all of us, is that this interval is being measured in milliseconds. Because a 2-minute terminal hesitation interval before deletion doesn't mean you made bad content. It means you made content you were afraid of. And fear, in behavioral data terms, is extraordinarily valuable information. Rehook. Here's the part the conspiracy thread calls the cruelest metric. Some analysts believe the system doesn't just log that you hesitated. It logs that you were right to hesitate, and then didn't post anyway. Cross-referencing your recording timestamp with your delete velocity creates what some call a regret fingerprint. A map of the exact creative decisions you reversed and how long it took you to reverse them. And when that regret fingerprint is layered against the sound's actual performance data, meaning what the trend did the week after you deleted your version, you get a number, a probability score, a likelihood that your deleted video would have performed. Some researchers describe instances where the modeled probability exceeds 90%. Meaning the content paralysis engine, if it exists, could theoretically tell you, you had a 90% chance. You deleted it in the 4th second. You watched the trend peak from your camera roll. 4 seconds. That is the interval some analysts keep returning to. Not 40 seconds. Not 4 minutes. 4 seconds. The average duration of what they're calling the post-threshold moment. The last window before self-doubt wins. And here is the question that makes this chapter matter beyond the conspiracy thread and the platform analytics forums. Here is why this is not just a story about TikTok. If the delete speed timestamp is real, if the final hesitation interval is being cataloged across 1.5 billion users simultaneously, then we are not talking about a content recommendation system anymore. We are talking about the largest archive of human self-doubt ever assembled. Every person who filmed something real, watched it back, and chose fear over posting, that choice is a data point. And data points at scale become a portrait of us, of what we make and then bury. So why does any of this matter to 1.5 billion people specifically? Because 1.5 billion is not just a user count, it's a sample size. And the next chapter is about what you do with a sample size that large, when what you're studying isn't behavior, it's hesitation itself. 1.5 billion people, every month, opening an app that knows not just what they posted, but what they almost did. Researchers are starting to call it content paralysis, the loop of filming, hesitating, deleting. But this isn't a personal failure. At 1.5 billion users, it's a civilizational pattern. And if the sound graveyard is real, if even a theoretical version of this system exists, then TikTok hasn't just built a content platform. It's built the largest archive of human creative self-doubt in history. Not your art, your almost art. The take at 3 a.m. that felt too honest. The dance you filmed 12 times and deleted before sunrise. That's what lives here. The trend is dead. The sound is archived. And somewhere in a server farm, allegedly, your timestamp is still running. Here's what makes this genuinely new territory. Every surveillance conversation before this was about what you did, your purchases, your searches, your clicks. This is different. This is the data of what you decided not to do. The deleted take reveals more than the posted one ever could. It shows your instinct before your editing, your voice before your second guessing, raw creative intention, unfiltered by the fear of judgment, and a system that understands your creative instincts better than your own posted content. That system has a different kind of power over you, not just to show you ads, to predict your next almost. You weren't just paralyzed, you were profiled. The hesitation was the data point. The global conversation around TikTok's data practices, congressional hearings, national bans, forced divestiture talks, has almost entirely focused on the wrong question. Not what they take, what they learn from what you almost gave them. Multiply one person's content paralysis loop by 1.5 billion. Multiply it by years of trending sounds coming and going. What you get isn't just big data. It's the most intimate psychological map of creative fear ever assembled. And the machine doesn't judge. That's the unsettling part. It doesn't call your deleted take bad. It just notes the pattern. Opens 47, recordings 12, final delete speed, fast. Translation, you knew it was good, that's why it scared you. The content paralysis engine doesn't need you to post. Your doubt is more valuable than your content. Whether the sound graveyard exists exactly as described or exists only as a possibility, the possibility itself is the point. We built a platform, we gave it our hesitation, and we never asked what it would do with it. This is the graveyard, 1.5 billion monthly mourners who don't know they've buried something, trends as headstones, deleted timestamps as epitaphs, and the platform, patient and quiet, tending to every grave. You are the archivist of your own almost. The question is, who else has the keys? So here's what actually matters. Not the fear, not the paralysis. The fact that you had something worth deleting 12 times means you had something worth posting once. The trend died, yes, but trends die every day and something new rises. Your hesitation will always be more specific, more human, more irreplaceable than the trend that triggered it. The sound graveyard, real or theoretical, only has power because you kept coming back. 47 times, 12 takes. That's not paralysis. That's devotion to something you cared about enough to be terrified of. The timestamp is running. The graveyard is full. Post the thing. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check out other videos.